I think we're live. So, Mayor Joe Carr here from the Rutherford County Courthouse with my very capable staff of Eric Hennessy, Lisa Kay, and Lee Harris. Thank you very much, ladies and gents, for joining us this evening. We've got several things we're going to talk about. We're going to try to pick up from where we left off Tuesday night when we had technical difficulties, for which I apologize. But, the technical gremlins sometimes grab a hold of things and they just don't let go. So, again, I apologize. It was unavoidable, but literally we spent 20 minutes trying to get it worked out. And I appreciate the Office of Information Technology and Lee Harris over there helping us work through the difficulties. But anyway, we're glad you're here with us tonight. We got several things we want to talk about. Obviously, we'll talk about anything you want to discuss. But we want to talk about the last night, the Budget Committee approved my proposal for the budget, which includes, unfortunately, and we've talked about it several times, 26-cent property tax hike, which is about 16%. I hate it, I regret it, and I don't want to do it. But again, like I've said on many occasions, we got a $64 million deficit. This county's never had a $64 million deficit before. The previous deficit was $31 million. And that's not physically responsible. And as somebody who hates raising taxes as much as I do, the thing I hate worse is not being physically responsible. And the county commission and I have looked just about everything we can to how can we balance this budget without raising property taxes. And the unfortunate thing is this county for the last 12 years has had deficits. They haven't been anything like the most recent year deficit that we inherited, but they were nonetheless deficits. And these deficits are due to our inability to pay for growth. And again, that's a solution that we're trying to work through with the home builders, realtors, and the developers, along with the Tennessee General Assembly and our delegation, about how we can solve for the consistent and ongoing problem and challenges that growth create with regard to expansion of infrastructure and who should be responsible for paying for that infrastructure. And nonetheless, we'll take your questions tonight. What I'd like to do, Lisa Kay and Eric, who are going to be asking the questions, I would like to kind of pick up where we started. So we'll just start because we answered a question or two Tuesday night, but the audio was not very effective on Facebook. So let's just start all over again. But before we do, Lee, I want to make sure we're good on our audio on Facebook, and okay. I got a thumbs up from Lee, and I've got thumbs up on YouTube. So let's, do we have a question, Lisa Kay?
We do. So
great.
We will start with from last time. And this was an anonymous question. Someone had a friend say that he thought Mayor Carr had called the home builders greedy.
Oh,
and
yeah,
so we wanted to know how you felt about the home builders and realtors in Rutherford County.
So I really am glad we're starting off with that question. I have a great deal of admiration and respect for that particular business community in Rutherford County, because they've done so much in a variety of ways for our community. And everybody knows that. That's nothing new. I think it's unfortunate that something like that would be assigned to me, because I don't ever recall using that term with respect to the home builders, the developers, or the realtors. In the event that I may have, because I don't recall every time I said something. I know I didn't post it on social media because I'm very careful about what I post there. But if I did say it, it's unfortunate. I regret it, and I do apologize for it. It's not what I believe, or certainly how I feel about the home building development real estate community. And I think they provide an invaluable service, obviously, and I respect what they do. They're looking out for their interests, which is what I expect them to do. My job is to look out for the interests of all the citizens of Rutherford County, especially those citizens who pay taxes, and especially those citizens who pay property taxes. So I get it, and I'm excited about the opportunity to work with them in the coming months so we can find a more permanent solution to how Rutherford County can manage its growth, and yet at the same time get growth to pay for itself with the same autonomy that some of the cities, well, all the cities and most of the counties have. So a lot of respect on my part for that particular business community.
So last time on YouTube, we had a couple of questions come in. Is it possible to hire a third-party company to conduct an internal audit for every department in the county? And that came from Jonathan.
Yes, it is. And that is something we have considered. And I need to, quite honestly, before we would bring a third party in, I would want to consult with the Tennessee Comptroller's Office, because typically that is who does audits for Rutherford County. As a matter of fact, the Tennessee Comptroller's Office every year audits the mayor's office and all of Rutherford County government. Now, there are different levels of audits. So that if that is something that you think we need to be doing, I would like to understand a little bit more about why. And if any citizen suspects there is fraud and abuse and waste going on within the Rutherford County government, I want you to contact my office directly. But if you're not comfortable doing that, then absolutely contact the comptroller's office, and you can do that anonymously. And then, of course, they will follow up on that allegation to determine if it merits an audit. But yeah, that's something we've considered. But we would want to do that in concert with the Tennessee Comptroller's Office first, who's primarily responsible for auditing Rutherford County government.
Second question from Carter. Has a group been assembled for Tennessee General Assembly recommendations? If not, when and who will comprise this group?
So that is being discussed right now, Carter, and that's a great question, because what we're trying to lean into, again, is find solutions so we, property taxpayers of Rutherford County, don't find ourselves in this position of having to pay property taxes to pay for growth in 4 years. And so the fact that this property tax basically pays off all of our deficits for the last 12 years doesn't mean that it's going to pay off the growth in the coming years. In fact, it won't. And so it's very important we assemble a group from the county commission, the mayor's office, our delegation, and those represent those stakeholders, which include the home builders, realtors, and the developers, but most importantly, property taxpayers. We want to have those citizens who are paying property taxes. They're the primary stakeholder here in whatever solution we find. And whatever solution we find, I'm going to be an advocate that, again, Rutherford County should be able to do the things that cities and counties are already doing, but that we're prohibited from doing by law.
Okay, so we're getting a message here that they can't hear the questions very well, so Lisa and I will have to speak up.
Okay.
Next question I have is from Mike. How is the 0.13 pennies not in the budget committee's recommendation going to affect your proposed budget? Is it going to adversely affect the AAA bond rating?
So what I'll do is I'll try to repeat the question. So the question, if I'm going to summarize and just make sure I get it right, Eric, is the 0.13 pennies that was removed from the budget tax proposal in last night's budget committee. What impact will that have on the overall budget? It won't have a impact really at all. It amounts to less than $200,000. The overall budget is right at $850 million, and that's including schools. And that is the budgeted expenditures. So it'll have a negligible place, and through the year, we will find that revenue either in other places, or we will reduce those expenses by that amount internally within the county's budget. I do want to take this opportunity, though, that's something I want to relay to you. Before we got started with trying to figure out how we were going to pay for the deficit, the first thing Michael Smith and I did, who's the finance director, we literally spent hundreds of hours going over each department's budget. Each department head came in here, submitted their 23-24 budget with the specific instruction from me: do not bring a budget increase over last year's budget. In other words, whatever your budget was for 22-23, do not exceed that at all for 23-24. And we can say that all the departments did that, with the exception of first responders. And so when we did that and we went through that process of making sure that our budget was lean and efficient and effective, before we got to the point of deciding how much of a property tax we needed, we had already reduced the deficit by over $25 million, which is huge. And so what that left us was $39 million, which is how we came up with the 26-cent property tax increase. But I want the voters, the citizens of Rutherford County, to know that Michael Smith and I, along with the directors, and all the constitutional officers in Rutherford County, spent a lot of time going over their budgets, making sure they were lean, making sure they were efficient. And as a result, we were able to find $25 million in savings.
Thank you, Mayor Carr. So we got a question from Commissioner Laura Davidson. She was asked, why don't we just raise the wheel tax? For example, it goes by weight of vehicle in Florida.
Yeah, so we don't do it by weight. Well, we do for trucks. The reason we didn't raise the wheel tax as an alternative to the property tax was, quite honestly, that's an interesting proposal, and it needed serious discussion and vetting. But the problem is that a wheel tax has to pass by a 2/3 vote on two successive regular county commission meetings. And by the time the wheel tax was proposed as a suitable alternative, and quite honestly, it was first proposed by Commissioner Piercy, and I want to applaud him for thinking outside the box. But by the time that he had made that proposal, we had already passed the timeline that was available to it for two consecutive readings by the county commission. However, that is something we're going to look at. We're probably going to do a study committee on it, and we're probably going to take a serious look at that later in the year. That's not to say we will do it. We're just going to see if by raising the wheel tax, can we reduce some of the property tax at a later date? It'll be that kind of discussion.
Okay, from Facebook, we're getting a question from Coolin. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. How are you supporting your county employees? Any raises this year?
We are doing a COLA, which is a cost of living increase. And with the rate of inflation being close to 7-8%, we are giving a lift to the table of 3.25% with a 1.75% raise. And quite honestly, we're doing that, Coolin, because we need to make sure that we stay competitive with not only the public sector marketplace, but the private sector marketplace. And the Rutherford County employees, without reservation or qualification, are the most valuable asset this county has. And I'm proud to make sure that their wage keeps up with the cost of inflation.
Okay, this doesn't have a name. This person heard that the city of Murfreesboro just raised impact fees.
Yes, they did.
Why can't Rutherford County do that?
So the question was that did Murfreesboro just raise impact fees, and if they can, why can't Rutherford County? The answer is yes. Murfreesboro just did pass on third and final reading this past Thursday night the raising of impact fees. They start at it's new construction, both residential, commercial, and industrial, and depending on its application and use will determine the rate. But on a single residential home, as an example, the rate will start out at $1.50 a square foot. Next year it'll go to $2, and the year after that to $2.50 a square foot. What's interesting is that Murfreesboro, that impact fee will, on a typical residential home, will generate anywhere between $7,500 and $8,000 per resident. And what's ironic in that is that there was very little, if any, protest on the part of the local development and home building community for that impact fee, which is interesting because when Rutherford County tried to pass a resolution authorizing the raising of an impact fee by only $2,500, of course, you probably know the courthouse was packed. And so I'm at a loss to understand why Murfreesboro can raise an impact fee with no resistance, and when Rutherford County tries to raise an impact fee or development tax at a third of what Murfreesboro is doing, of course, the courthouse is packed. So I would like for somebody to offer an explanation to me on that, because I just don't understand it. If impact fees go to affecting affordable housing, which is the argument, then it would affect affordable housing in Murfreesboro just like it does in Rutherford County. But in any event, the question is the reason Rutherford County cannot raise impact fees and development taxes is because the Tennessee General Assembly in state law prohibits us from doing so, which is what we need. We need the Tennessee General Assembly to assist us in allowing us to do the things that Murfreesboro, Smyrna, and Laverne and counties like Williamson, Wilson, and Dixon County can do.
Okay, this came in from Leslie, and this was from the previous Q&A that we tried. So while the previous mayor can be blamed for the Carr lease, the county commission approved it. Is it past time to clean house?
Well, I don't know what cleaning house it means exactly, Leslie, but if you're asking me if we should make sure that the mayor's office and the county commission are open and transparent in its decisions it can make, you and I are in complete agreement. The enterprise car lease agreement we have scrapped. Rutherford County has no business leasing vehicles. A county this size should not have to lease vehicles for operating purposes. Vehicles should be purchased. Moreover, it's a bad idea to lease a vehicle and then turn right around at the end of the lease, 4 or 5 years, whatever the case may be, and then be obligated either to buy that lease or turn that vehicle in and then lease another vehicle. That's just a very poor way to manage this county's financial resources. And so while we still have some vehicles on lease, they're on lease that were leased over a year ago, and we are not leasing any additional vehicles. So in that regard, we are cleaning house. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mayor Carr, let's talk trash.
Leave it to Lisa Kay to want to talk trash. I'm going to tell you something about Lisa Kay. Lisa Kay loves to talk trash with the mayor. She's a trash talker. She is. Come on, speak up and talk your trash, Lisa Kay.
This says, I heard Republic said they want to work together to find a solution to the landfill issue. Why won't the county work with them?
The county will work with them as long as it doesn't include the expansion of the landfill to include taking in trash from outside the county. Currently, the only solution available that Republic is willing to consider is the purchase of the old Rutherford County landfill, which allows them to expand Republic to expand their current landfill footprint and give them an extended 30 to 50 years of life out there at Walter Hill so that they can continue to take trash from Davidson County and bring it into Rutherford County. I made a promise when I ran for office that we would no longer do that when that landfill got full and closed. I'm going to keep my promise. So if Republic wants to negotiate with the county to operate a Rutherford County only landfill, I am all too willing to listen. But up to this point, they have unwilling to be a good faith negotiating partner in that sense.
Okay, still with that topic. If the city of Murfreesboro is building a transfer station, why don't we just join them?
As a matter of fact, we may. Rutherford County produces about 460,000 tons of trash every year. 20% of that trash is what they call C&D, or commercial and destruction trash. And so that leaves the rest of it to be MSW. So it's very possible we will partner with Murfreesboro because we may need 2 transfer stations to deal with the 350 to 400,000 tons of trash produced MSW, what's called municipal solid waste, every year. So we are actively speaking and working with Murfreesboro to see if we can create some kind of partnership or synergy.
Okay, you know about the single stream pilot that is going on for the recycling on some things.
I know, I'm aware of it, and I know that the single stream pilot is going over at Weekly Lane in Smyrna, and Bishop is doing a wonderful job with that. So yeah, okay. I'm aware of it.
Okay, so do we have any time frame as to when all the other ones will come online?
No, we don't. That's still a pilot, but I got to tell you, Bishop Wagner, our solid waste director, does an absolutely phenomenal job with that. And if you have a question about that specifically, please call Bishop. I'm sure he'll be glad to answer your question and give you the timelines. I'm not sure when the pilot will conclude, but I do know this: the pilot is going very, very well. And so we anticipate, based on early results of the pilot, Lisa Kay, that the single stream recycling will be adopted in the other convenience centers. I'm just not sure which convenience centers and when.
Okay, and this question comes up very often. What is the real number of years for Republic closing?
Well, it depends on who you ask. Based on the data that we have collected from independent experts, I don't think they have more than 3 years left. And I suspect it's less than that. But Republic would tell you it's 5 years, and that's where we disagree.
Okay, this is coming in from Jimmy. And the question is, has ground been broken on the transfer station yet? Started building? Has it started building?
No. As a matter of fact, we are toward the end of the design engineering phase, Jimmy. About has the ground broken on the transfer station? No, it has not. We will have to get the engineering design plans in. We probably expect, Eric, we're going to get those probably in about 30, 45 days. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, 30, 45 days. Then we will take those out and we will take those to bid. And then we will get a contractor. And then hopefully we will break ground in the next, 3 to 6 months.
Okay, and this question is, when are the public health and safety buildings in Rockville and Kittrell opening?
Well, I don't know. We keep thinking it's any day now, and we're very, very close. So what we will do is that's a great follow-up question for Lisa Kay, the Rutherford County Public Information Officer. Lisa Kay, do me a favor, and let's when we get a notice on that, let's put out a press release. I know we're going to have a ribbon cutting, and there'll be advance notice of that. Obviously, the public safety buildings will be open before then, but I suspect the public safety buildings are going to open up really any day now. They're very, very close. Now, obviously, there's going to be a ribbon cutting sometime down the road, and the communities will be invited to those. But the exact day, I don't know. We're working through the punch list is where we're at right now.
Okay, what's going on with Recovery Court? I heard they need room for expansion.
So the question was, what's going on with Recovery Court? Currently, Recovery Court works with those individuals who are incarcerated or have been incarcerated, who have some type of addiction or mental illness, or they're veterans, or some situation that complicates their recovery so that they find themselves, and quite honest, to be repeat offenders. And they've shown a willingness and through their incarceration to adhere to a pretty strict standard and protocol for rehabilitation. And so right now the waiting list for Recovery Court is 140 individuals. The recidivism rate once somebody goes through Recovery Court is much lower than it is for those who stay incarcerated. And so this is actually a strong financial move on the part of the county to expand the Recovery Court system, to add additional services, because every time we keep somebody a day out of jail, that saves the county, I think, like $70 or $75 a day. And so this is money in our pocket. And so much of what Recovery Court does is through federal and state grants. So we are proactively trying to expand the Recovery Court. My Chief of Staff, Eric Hennessy, has been working on that with Michelle Ricks, the Director of Recovery Court, for some time. I think we're going to, the plan is for a 1,400-foot expansion. Isn't that right, Eric?
Yes, sir.
And that'll provide additional services to get that waiting list, or at least try to cut that waiting list in half. Isn't that right?
That is the plan.
Okay, great. So.
Okay, Bo wants to go back to public health and safety buildings. The question is, where will it be in Christiana, and the timeline for the public health and safety building in Christiana?
So I believe that off in Christiana is going to be off Wayside Road. It's where I think so. I need to make sure on that, Bo, but it's going to replace the current. Eric, are you telling me something different?
No, I don't.
Okay, I thought you were waving your arm at me. I believe it's going to be off Wayside Road, but I'm not real sure, Bo. But that Christiana is the next in phase for public safety. So right now we are trying to get Kittrell and Rockville open. Walter Hill and Las Casas are under construction. And so the final two to be let will be Christiana and Del Webb. And that'll be probably next year.
Okay, Mayor Carr, how will the new state of Tennessee public chapter number 213 and 300 laws affect meetings in Rutherford County?
Well, if that is the Public Meetings Act, then it means that all public meetings got to have a public comment period. And that is the state law. And Rutherford County Commission and the Office of the Mayor are committed to offering that. Now, there are some stipulations to that. For the county commission and the committee meetings, I believe you have to call in and give your name and what you want to speak to at least 2 hours prior to the meeting. I think that's correct.
4:30.
Is it 4:30? Okay. If for the county commission meeting, but for the committee meeting, it's still 2 hours prior.
4:30.
It's still 4:30. Okay. So the 4:30 is the deadline every day for that particular committee meeting or county commission meeting to be on the list to speak, make public comments.
And then with that public comment, only the Rob committee is different because, they have their meetings at 10 in the morning.
So tell them what the Rob committee is. Oh,
So it's
I hate acronyms, Lisa K. You know that.
Rutherford Opioid Board.
The
So
Rutherford County Opioid Board. She's trying. This is Lisa K.
The
You got
deadline
to
is-
know Lisa K is to love Lisa K.
The deadline is 1 hour before the meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. So I got this question from Cindy. When will the 4-lane roadway come out through Rockville?
That's up to TDOT. That is a Highway 99 TDOT controlled thoroughfare, and I have no idea. Great question, because I'd like to see it because traffic is a mess out there.
Okay, and then we have a question about growth.
Oh, Lordy. Yes, it's growth. Growth.
Why are so many people relocating to Middle Tennessee?
So there's a lot of reasons, but Rutherford County has done a great job providing, up till recently, affordable housing, really good jobs, and a phenomenal educational system. We've got a first-class university at Middle Tennessee State where you have 25,000 students, and a lot of those students come from out of the state or across the state. And wait a minute, what are you two doing over there? I'm on it. Okay. See, this is what they do. Lee and Lisa K and Eric, they're over there chiming. I told them not to do this. So what was I talking about? So MTSU is a great engine for the growth in this county, and so that people want to stay. And quite honestly, what happens is they want to raise their families here. They get married, they want to raise their families, and it's just a tremendous opportunity for them to develop their lives and grow. And we have Rutherford County right now is the 43rd fastest growing county in the nation. We are the fastest growing county in the state. We have 9,000 to 10,000 new residents move into the county every single year. Those 9,000 to 10,000 new residents bring 1,000 to 1,500 kids every year to our school system. It costs $9,700 to educate a student, and that's not the cost. That doesn't include the cost to build a new school. So people want to live here. They like it here. They want to work here. They want to raise their families here. And so it's getting expensive because we don't have a way for growth to pay for itself. So Lisa K, there are a lot of reasons why people want to move here. And the fact of the matter is they're coming from all over the country. They really are.
Okay.
That's a great question. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So it looks like this will be our last question.
Have we already gone 30 minutes?
Well, it's 29 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And then somebody just put in a different question about something else. So I'm going to go ahead and ask you.
Sure, that's fine. We can go over a little bit.
Okay, this is from Jimmy. How are your honeybees doing?
The bees are doing great. Joe Jr.'s helping me because of the time I had to spend down here. We now have 24 hives, and we have yet to harvest this year's honey. Last year, we harvested over 1,000 pounds we had 20 hives, but we only harvested out of 12. We've got 24 hives this year. We'll probably harvest out of 16. And so, but the nectar flow hadn't been as good. So we'll probably pull about 700 pounds, but we're looking forward to doing that probably late July.
Okay.
I like the question.
Okay. All right. So
I can also take questions on the walking horses that my son and I are breaking. We had 5 2-year-olds that were breaking and training for pleasure and trail. And if you want to talk about the sawmill, we can talk about that. Those are things I really like to talk about, but they don't have anything to do with county business.
Okay, so we got a question from Carter, who asked a question previously, and he made a statement first that said, so don't spend the money on a third-party audit.
Okay.
And then his question, or her question maybe, is so we can anticipate a property tax increase yearly?
No. The question was, can we expect a yearly property tax increase? The answer is, I won't propose it. And no. How many times do I need to say no? I mean, I'm telling you, I hate doing this. I despise it. And what I despise most about it, it's not right. It's not fair. We, the property taxpayers of Rutherford County, are absolutely shouldering the burden, carrying the load for the growth in this county, for which they will receive little or no benefit. That's not right. I'm doing this because Rutherford County is $64 million in deficit spending. We're spending that much more than we took in last year. I've got to pay off that credit card debt. Once we're doing that, we're not going to do this again. Now, having said that, in 3 or 4 or 5 years, if we don't get a solution out of the Tennessee General Assembly so we can pay for this growth, a permanent solution that Rutherford County can navigate, then we may be here again. But it's not because we didn't have good, sound fiscal policies within Rutherford County government. So no, we will not be raising property taxes next year or even the year after that.
So Mayor Carr, I think we can have a closing statement because we have no more questions from YouTube.
Great.
And we've answered.
So let me first of all thank my amazing staff, Leigh Harris, Lisa Kay, and Eric Hennessy. They do a great job. They provide the mayor with a tremendous amount of humor. It's great. We try really hard. We take very seriously the job we do on your behalf. It's an honor to serve you. We appreciate and take that very seriously. But at the same time, I can speak on part of the staff. We're not going to take ourselves too seriously. We make mistakes. When we make mistakes, we're going to own our mistakes and not repeat our mistakes. But we're doing the very best we can. And we want to hear from you on how we can do better. Because it's not me, it's all of us together trying to make this community the best community in Tennessee. And it is. It is a good community. We're going to make it great, and we're going to do that together. So thank you very much. You can always contact me on my cell phone, 615-519-3184. Now, I dropped my phone today, so I'm not able to receive texts or calls until I get it fixed tomorrow. Leigh's going to take care of me on that. But please, if you want to talk to me directly, 615-519-3184. Of course, you can contact Lisa Kay in her office or Eric Hennessy in his office, and we're here to serve you. Thank you very much. Good night. God bless.